Leadership consultant Michael Rogers tells the story of an elderly but very cute couple that walked into the local fast food restaurant. The little old man went up to the counter and ordered the food. He brought back to the table one hamburger, one small amount of fries, and one drink. Carefully, he sliced the hamburger into two and then neatly divided the fries into two small piles. He sipped the drink and then passed it to his wife. She took a sip and passed it back. A younger man at a nearby table observed this couple and began to feel sorry for them. He offered to buy them another meal, but the old man respectfully declined, saying that they were used to sharing everything. The old man began to eat his food while his wife sat still, not eating. The young man continued to watch the old couple, feeling there was something that he should be doing to help. As the old man finished his half of the burger and fries, the old woman still hadn't started eating hers. This young man couldn't take it anymore. He asked, "Ma'am, why aren't you eating?" The old lady looked up and politely said, pointing to her husband, "I'm waiting for the teeth." When we cooperate, we can accomplish almost anything. When we work together patiently, even with limited resources, we can feed the world. A me-first attitude gets everyone nowhere. That well-intentioned onlooker, watching the elderly couple eat their meal, mistakenly thought he was witnessing toxic me-first behavior by the husband. He didn't recognize the couple's patience, sharing, and cooperation. Seems like an honest mistake. We're not used to seeing people share their teeth, after all. We're more likely to see people using their teeth to bite one another as they compete with what they imagine are scarce resources. We just read a section of Paul's letter to the Galatian church. He's frustrated. He's disappointed. The congregation is suffering infighting and conflict. Paul knows this conflict is driven by a me-first attitude. He calls their attitude of the flesh, an attitude that doesn't put God first, an attitude that puts me first. Paul scolds this quarreling congregation for biting and devouring one another. He warns them not to be self-seeking, because self-seeking attitudes and behaviors kill congregations. That is underlined in the script, by the way. Paul has a pastor's heart, and he doesn't want his congregation's energy wasted on fighting, arguments, and divisions. He wants his congregation's energy invested in a unity and peace that delivers good news to the community. He doesn't want his congregation biting and devouring one another. The Galatians are using their teeth as weapons. But Paul wants them to use their teeth and the rest of their bodies, like the elderly couple in the restaurant, for sharing and cooperation. What does this me-first, biting and devouring look like? Paul has a list of 15 problematic attitudes and behaviors. This list is not comprehensive, rather it is representative. Paul's list begins and ends with some sensational and what you could call spicy behaviors. Fornication, impurity, licentiousness, idolatry, sorcery, drunkenness, and carousing. I actually don't know what that means. Those are the kinds of words you probably shouldn't put into the search bar of your web browser. In addition to these sensational words, Paul has a list of 8 community-destroying offenses: enmities, strife, jealousy, anger, quarrels, dissensions, factions, and envy. What does the sensational list have in common with the community-destroying list? In both cases, Paul is talking about a deeper problem: me-first attitudes that leave people so focused on themselves, attitudes that want their own way, willing to hurt the community to get what they want. Paul is saying that me-first behaviors kill congregations. These works of the flesh directly poison community relationships. Enmities, which means hostility, strife, which means rivalry, along with jealousy, anger, quarrels, dissension, and factions. These are all ways that we create distance, build walls, and prevent a healthy community. If a me-first attitude is the problem, what is the solution? Paul says the solution is living by the Spirit. Some Bibles translate it as walking by the Spirit. When you walk by the Spirit, you produce the fruits of the Spirit. And what are the fruits of the Spirit? We'll hear about those in next week's sermon. But living by the Spirit means working together, being whole, and finding peace with one another. It means letting God's Spirit actively guide us, which is the only real way to genuinely live outside the grip of that me-first way of thinking. Think about it. When we let God's Spirit guide us, our relationships change for the better. We can turn being enemies into being friends, arguments into working together, jealousy into celebrating others' successes, and cliques into true unity. The Spirit helps us grow the fruit we'll talk about next week. Things like love, joy, and peace, which are all about building up and not tearing down our community. I remember back in 2009, during the Christmas holidays, watching the World Junior Hockey Tournament with my brother. The game was intense, and my brother gets intense when he watches hockey games. This is about Brad's brother, but I can comment that mine also does. Especially, and I'm sure you can all relate to this, Canada-USA World Juniors. At one point, the Canadian team's star forward at the time, a name you might be familiar with, John Tavares, stayed up ice after an offensive rush. The Americans gained possession of the puck, and Tavares didn't bother hustling back to help the defense. With Tavares out of position, the Americans dominated a rebound and scored. My brother, frustrated, shouted at the TV in a most sarcastic tone, "I'm a superstar forward. I'm too important to skate back." That moment perfectly captured the me-first attitude that can get a team hurt. Even a superstar, when focused on their own glory rather than supporting the whole, can open the door for the opponent to score. It's a vivid picture of how putting our own importance or desires first can create real problems for any group, let alone a congregation. But when we shift focus away from self, away from biting and devouring one another, to our shared purpose, real friendship and teamwork is going to grow, and any team will become strong again, achieving more than they ever thought possible. Live by God's Spirit. See where that Spirit can lead our community. Amen.